Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. This week in Parshas Behaalosecha, we are introduced to a group of individuals known as the Misonanim. Vayam ki Misonanim Rabbas Ne Hashem. The Torah tells us there was a group of people who complained in a very negative way. Well, Yakadosh Baruch Hu was not happy about. And what's interesting, many of the Mefarshim point out that we don't ever know what it was exactly that they complained about. What was the complaint? What was bothering them? And the Ramban says, I'll tell you why we're never told what they complained about. Because there wasn't really any specific complaint. But rather, the people had lived their lives for many years in Egypt. Yes, they were slaves, but they lived a life that was predictable, a life that had a schedule, a life that they understood and they knew. They knew what time to get up in the morning. They knew what would happen from day to day. And then they found themselves thrust into the wilderness of the Midbar. Yes, they lived with miraculous food and miraculous drink and air conditioning from the Ananei HaKavod and beautiful tents to live in, and that was great. But there was a lot of uncertainty in that life in the Midbar. They were living in the wilderness, all by themselves, not amongst any other people. If they didn't know from 1 minute to the next, if they'd be getting up and traveling, if they would travel for how long until they would stop, how long was this whole thing going to take until they finally got to Eretz Yisrael, a place that they didn't know about, they'd never seen before, no one had ever experienced. The greatest challenge the people lived through in the Midbar was the challenge of uncertainty. As the Chazal tell us, Ein simcha ka'ataras hasfekos, there's no greater joy for a human being than to have their doubts resolved, because doubt brings a lot of pain and challenge for people. So how are we supposed to handle that type of uncertainty that I think this story speaks to me very much in terms of what we're experiencing right now? We're living at a time where the actual laws of the country change, or the state change from one day to the next. We don't know what to expect in 2 weeks or 3 weeks and 4 weeks. You can barely plan anything because we don't know what's going to be. And Moshe Weinberger writes that when a person looks at the challenges of their life, we need to look at how we sometimes look at mitzvos in the Torah. When we look at mitzvos and learning, very often we distinguish between two types of mitzvos. Mitzvos of the chefza that depend on the item, and a mitzvah of the gavra that depends on the person. For example, the mitzvah of tzitzis. You can ask the question, is the mitzvah for a person to wear tzitzis? Or is it a mitzvah of the gavra? Or is it a mitzvah to place tzitzis on the clothing, on the four-corner garment, a mitzvah on the chefza? And says Rav Weinberger, very often when we're facing challenges in our lives at any time, we look around at all the chefzas in our life, all the people, all the circumstances that make our life difficult, and we say, if only we could fix all the chefzas, then we'd be fine. When in truth, the best way to tackle the challenges in our lives is not by trying to fix everything outside of ourselves. Many of those things, especially now, are out of our control. The best thing we can do is to look internally at the gavra, to look at ourselves, and to focus on ourselves. And I think that right now, the focus really needs to be on our mental health, on taking care of how we're feeling with all that's going on. We're dealing with an unprecedented amount of stress and anxiety, and it's important that we take the time to focus and ask ourselves how we're each doing. We need to schedule time to focus on an interest that we have just for ourselves. Whether that's a hobby, exercise, something that you do just for yourself. Are we finding someone to talk to, a professional, or even a family member, a friend, someone who we can discuss the anxieties and the frustrations that we're feeling? And are we reminding ourselves on a daily basis that we're all doing the best that we can? I believe the focus on the gavra right now is going to be a key ingredient for helping us weather the storm of uncertainty. We don't know when it'll be over, but we hope it will be over soon. But as we get through it, as we continue to focus, and we do focus on the gavra, focusing on our physical well-being, but really also focusing on our mental health, on how we are doing, it'll allow us to be available not just for ourselves, but to be there for others and to take care of those who matter to us most.